The rain poured heavily that night, beating against the rusted zinc roof of the small village house. Inside, a young woman knelt by her father's lifeless body, her cries drowning in the storm. Her only comfort was the calloused hand of the man who had raised her, now cold in death. But even in death, her father's last words echoed in her ears like thunder. "Ada, the land, never let anyone take it from you. That land is your future." She held onto his chest, tears streaming down her face. She didn't know that outside in the rain, her elder brother, Obinna, was watching with greedy eyes. Not mourning. Not broken. But plotting. For in that land lay wealth, and in his heart, only greed. And so began a war not fought with guns or swords, but with betrayal, lies, and the sharp blade of family treachery. Welcome to Nightfall Tales by Wara, where stories grip your soul and refuse to let go. Stay with us, because tonight's tale will leave you breathless. The village of Umuaka was quiet that night except for the sound of rain and the whispers of death. Inside the small mud house, Ada held her father, Panaji, as he took his final breath. Her heart was breaking into pieces. He had been sick for months, and though she tried everything, herbs, prayers, and the little money she made selling palm oil, nothing was enough. His once strong body had grown frail, and now, like a candle in the wind, his light was going out. "Papa, please don't leave me," Ada sobbed, clutching him. With trembling lips, Panaji whispered, "Ada, my daughter, you are my only true child. Your brother Obinna has lost his way. Promise me you will hold on to the land. It is all I have to give you." Her tears fell on his chest. "I promise, Papa. I promise." A weak smile spread across his face. "Good girl, the land will take care of you, if you take care of it." And with that, his eyes closed forever. Ada screamed in pain, her voice tearing through the night. Neighbors came rushing in, women wailing, men shaking their heads in sorrow. But outside, in the shadows, Obinna stood with folded arms, his face unreadable. He had heard his father's last words. The land. Always the land. Ada this, Ada that. He clenched his jaw, anger burning in his chest. So it is to Ada he gave it? That land should be mine. I am the first son. That land belongs to me. The night was full of grief, but in Obinna's heart, only greed grew. The funeral was held 3 days later. The villagers gathered, drums were beaten, and elders paid their respects. Ada wore white, her eyes swollen from endless tears. Obinna walked around as though he was the chief mourner, barking orders, drinking palm wine, and making sure everyone knew he was the son of Panaji. But after the dust of the burial settled, the real battle began. One evening, Ada sat outside the compound, staring at the farmland that stretched across the horizon. The soil was rich and dark, a gift from God himself. Her father had always said that land was wealth, and anyone who worked it would never go hungry. Obinna walked up to her, his voice sharp. Ada, pack your things. That land is mine. You heard Papa's last words wrongly. As the first son, tradition gives it to me. Ada turned, shocked. What? Obinna, Papa gave it to me with his own mouth. He said it is mine. Obinna laughed bitterly. Papa was sick. He didn't know what he was saying. You're a woman, Ada. A woman has no right to inherit land in this family. That land belongs to me. Ada's voice trembled, but she stood firm. No, Obinna. Papa trusted me. He believed in me. I will not give you the land. Obinna's eyes darkened. Then you are ready for war. From that day, the bond of blood between brother and sister broke like clay pot on a stone. Obinna began his schemes. He went to the village elders, twisting the story. He bribed some with palm wine and money, whispering that Ada was stubborn, that she wanted to disgrace tradition. He told the townspeople that Ada had bewitched their father to hand over the land. But Ada stood her ground, even as whispers followed her in the marketplace. Children pointed, women shook their heads, men muttered. She was becoming an outcast for simply obeying her father's dying wish. One night, sitting alone, Ada whispered into the darkness, Papa, why did you leave me with this burden? But deep down, she remembered his words, "The land will take care of you, if you take care of it." Her resolve grew stronger. But so did Obinna's greed. Weeks turned into months, and the battle for the land deepened. Obinna, seeing that Ada would not yield, decided to strike harder. One morning, Ada woke up to find strangers walking through her farmland. They had cut down some cassava and yam plants. She rushed to confront them. "Stop! What are you doing here?" she cried. One of the men spat on the ground. "This land is not yours. Obinna, your brother, sold part of it to us." Ada's heart stopped. "Sold it? He cannot sell what doesn't belong to him." The men laughed cruelly. "Go and argue with your brother. As far as we are concerned, we paid him. If you fight us, you fight his money." Tears filled her eyes as she ran to Obinna's house. He sat on a wooden stool, sipping palm wine, smiling smugly. "Obinna! How could you? How could you sell Papa's land?" He leaned back, stretching. "Because it's mine. And if you think you can stop me, go and call the gods themselves." "Ada, you are a woman. Women don't own land here. Accept it and go marry somewhere else." Ada's body shook with anger. "You will regret this, Obinna. You will regret ever touching what Papa gave me." Obinna chuckled. "We shall see." But as Ada stormed out, something broke inside her. Not just anger, not just pain, but the bitter taste of betrayal. Her only brother, her own blood, had turned against her for wealth. That night, as she sat by the flickering lantern in her small room, she whispered to herself, "If it is war he wants, then war he will get. I will fight, even if it costs me everything." And so, the battle lines were drawn. Brother against sister. Blood against blood. Greed against truth. The war for the land had just begun. The morning sun painted the village square in shades of gold. The great udala tree stood tall in the center, its roots thick like coiled snakes, its branches spreading wide like a giant umbrella. This was where the elders of Umuaka gathered to settle disputes. On this day, all eyes were on Ada and Obinna. The whispers of their quarrel had grown too loud, too bitter to ignore. The council of elders had summoned them. Ada walked to the square with trembling legs but a firm heart. She wore a plain wrapper tied tightly around her chest, her hair neatly covered with a scarf. She looked humble but determined. Obinna, on the other hand, strolled in like a conqueror. He wore a new white shirt, his chest puffed out, and behind him trailed some of his drinking companions who whispered and laughed. The oldest elder, Pa Okeke, cleared his throat. His voice was slow but commanding, like the rumble of distant thunder. "Obinna, Ada, you are the children of our late brother Naji. He was a man we all respected. Today, we must decide what becomes of his land. Speak truth before us, for the gods are watching." Obinna stepped forward first. He bowed slightly, then raised his voice. "Great elders, I thank you. As you all know, I am the first son of Panaji. Tradition gives the inheritance to me. But this sister of mine, Ada, she is stubborn. She claims our father gave her the land. Is that not an abomination? Since when did women begin to inherit land in this village?" A murmur of agreement rose among some elders. Others frowned. Ada's eyes filled with tears, but she wiped them quickly. She stepped forward, her voice steady. "My fathers, I will not lie before you. On his dying bed, Papa held my hand and said, 'The land is yours. Take care of it.' He said this with his last breath. I cannot betray his trust." Some elders shifted uncomfortably. Pa Okeke stroked his white beard. Obinna smirked. "Elders, do not be deceived. She bewitched our father. She confused him in his weakness. This is not about land. This is about a woman trying to overturn our ways." Ada's heart burned at the accusation. She wanted to scream, but Pa Okeke raised his hand. "Enough. We shall deliberate." The elders gathered under the udala tree, whispering in low tones. The villagers waited anxiously. After a long silence, Pa Okeke returned. The council has spoken. By tradition, land passes to the son. But Pa Naji's last words cannot be ignored. Therefore, Ada, you shall be allowed to work the land for now, but Obinna remains the rightful owner. The square erupted. Obinna's friends cheered. Ada stood frozen, her chest tight. The ground seemed to spin beneath her feet. Obinna turned to her with a mocking smile. You see? Even the elders know the truth. That land is mine. Ada's fists clenched. She wanted to collapse, but instead she whispered under her breath. No, Obinna. This is not the end. And as she walked away, the villagers' eyes followed her. Some with pity, some with scorn. But one pair of eyes, belonging to a young farmer named Chike, burned with silent sympathy. The days that followed were heavy for Ada. She worked the land with her bare hands, planting cassava, tending yams, watering the vegetables. She did not have much, but she had her sweat, and she poured it into the soil. But Obinna was not finished. The judgment of the elders had only emboldened him. He began to send thugs at night to destroy Ada's crops. One morning, she woke up to find her small farm trampled, yam mounds scattered, cassava roots pulled out. She fell to her knees, her cries piercing the sky. Why, Obinna? Why are you doing this to me? But there was no answer. Only the rustle of the wind. That night, as she sat outside her hut, staring at the stars, Chike approached. He was a quiet young man, strong and hardworking, with eyes that carried both kindness and sorrow. Ada, he said softly, don't lose hope. Ada looked up, surprised. Chike, why do you care? He sighed. Because I knew your father. He was a good man. And I know you. You don't deserve this pain. Obinna is wrong. But you cannot fight him alone. Tears rolled down Ada's cheeks. What can I do, Chike? Even the elders are against me. The whole village whispers that I bewitched Papa. Chike's jaw tightened. Then you must be strong. If the village rejects you, let the truth itself fight for you. Plant again. Work again. Show them that you will not be broken. Ada stared at him. His words lit a small fire in her heart. She nodded slowly. I will not give up. Papa's land will not die in my hands. But in the shadows nearby, unseen by both of them, one of Obinna's men listened. Later that night, he carried the news to his master. Obinna, the girl will not give up. She even has someone encouraging her. Obinna's face hardened. Then she must learn. If she will not surrender, I will break her completely. And from that night, Obinna's plans grew darker. It was market day in Umuaka, and the air was filled with chatter, laughter, and the smell of roasted maize. Ada had gone to sell some palm oil she had managed to preserve. She smiled faintly as a few women bought from her, though some still whispered behind her back. When she returned home in the evening, she froze. Her farm was burning. Flames danced across the field like devils. The cassava stalks cracked in the heat, the yam mounds collapsed into ashes, smoke rose into the evening sky. Ada dropped her basket and screamed. No! My farm! No! She ran into the flames, trying to beat them with her wrapper, but it was useless. Neighbors gathered, some trying to help, others shaking their heads. From a distance, Obinna stood with a satisfied smirk, his arms folded. His thugs had done the job well. Ada fell to her knees, choking on smoke, tears streaming down her face. All her hard work, all her sweat, gone in a single evening. Chike rushed to her side, pulling her away from the flames. Ada, stop. You'll get burned. She collapsed in his arms, sobbing. Why is he doing this to me? Why? What did I ever do to deserve this? Chike held her tightly, his own eyes glistening. Because greed blinds a man's soul. But Ada, listen to me, fire can destroy crops, but it cannot destroy the seed in your heart. Don't let him win. Ada looked up at him, broken but not defeated. She whispered, her voice hoarse, "Then I will rise again. Even from ashes. I will rise again." But as the fire consumed her farm, the village grew restless. Some said Ada was cursed. Others said the gods were angry. And Obinna, seeing how the tide was turning, began to whisper a new lie. Ada has angered the spirits. That is why her farm burned. She is not fit to own land. The battle had moved beyond land. It was now a war for Ada's very dignity. And she was determined not to lose. The whispers in Umuaka grew louder after the fire. Many said Ada had been cursed, others believed her father's spirit was angry with her. The women in the market avoided her stall. Children pointed at her when she walked past. Even some of the elders shook their heads and muttered, "A woman cannot fight tradition." Obinna fed these whispers like firewood to flames. But even he knew the people's hearts could change if Ada refused to break. So he decided to take the battle beyond the physical. One evening, under the cover of night, Obinna visited the shrine of the ancestors. The shrine sat at the edge of the forest, surrounded by thick iroko trees. The air there was heavy, the silence deep. At the center was a small mud hut, its walls painted with chalk symbols, skulls of goats and chickens hanging on strings, and in the middle, a clay pot that never seemed to dry of palm oil. The shrine priest, Dibia Okoro, emerged from the shadows. His eyes were sharp, his voice low and eerie. "Obinna, son of Naji, why have you come?" Obinna bowed his head. "Great Dibia, I need your help. My sister Ada wants to steal my father's land. She claims he gave it to her. But that land belongs to me. I am the first son." The Dibia studied him for a long moment. "And what do you want from me?" "I want her broken," Obinna said firmly. "I want her to give up the land. I want her to know she cannot fight me." The Dibia chuckled, a dark sound. "You are greedy, Obinna. Greed burns hotter than fire. But, if that is what you want, the ancestors can fight for you. Bring a white goat, 7 cowries, and your sister's name written in blood. Then you shall see her strength crumble." Obinna's lips curled into a smile. "It will be done." As he left the shrine, the moon hid behind clouds, and a dog howled in the distance. Meanwhile, Ada sat in her hut, staring at her father's old walking stick. She held it tightly, whispering, "Papa, guide me. They want to destroy me, but I will not let go of your gift." Little did she know that Obinna had invited forces beyond the physical into their war. That night, Ada had a strange dream. She found herself standing in the middle of the farmland. The soil was dark, the wind cold. Suddenly, the ground cracked open, and out of it rose a tall, shadowy figure with glowing red eyes. Its voice rumbled like thunder. "Leave the land, Ada. It is not yours. If you do not, you will perish." She trembled, stepping back. But then, from the other side, her father appeared. His face was calm, his staff in his hand, his eyes full of light. "My daughter, do not fear. The land is yours. It is your inheritance. Stand firm, no matter what shadows rise against you. The truth will protect you." Ada reached out, but he vanished like smoke. She woke up with a scream, sweat pouring down her body. Her heart pounded. She knew it wasn't just a dream. It was a warning. Obinna was using dark powers against her. The next morning, she went straight to Chaik's hut. He was surprised to see her so early, her eyes red, her wrapper loosely tied. "Chaik, I had a dream. Papa appeared. He told me to stand firm. Obinna is fighting me with darkness." Chaik's face hardened. "I knew it. People have been whispering that he went to Dibia Okoro. Ada, you cannot fight this battle with only your strength. You must seek help from the right place." Ada frowned. "Where? Who will help me? The elders have failed me. The villagers mock me. Where else can I turn?" Chaik lowered his voice.
There is a wise woman in the next village, Mama Ifunanya.
They say she does not serve darkness, but calls on the living God.
Maybe she can guide you. Ada hesitated, then nodded. Take me to her. I cannot fight this war alone.
That day, a new path opened for Ada, a path of light, even as Obinna sank deeper into shadows.
The road to the next village was long and dusty.
Ada and Shaik walked together under the hot sun, passing through thick bushes and narrow paths.
Ada's heart pounded with both fear and hope.
At last, they arrived at a small hut surrounded by tall palm trees. The air was strangely peaceful, the kind of peace Ada had not felt in months. Birds chirped, butterflies floated around, and the place seemed untouched by the chaos of the world.
Mama Ifunanya came out to meet them.
She was an elderly woman with silver hair tied back, her wrapper simple, her face glowing with calm wisdom. Her eyes, though old, seemed to see deep into Ada's soul. "Child," she said softly, "I have been expecting you."
Ada gasped. Expecting me? How? Mama Ifunanya smiled faintly.
When the night is darkest, the light prepares itself.
Sit.
They sat on wooden stools as Ada poured out everything, her father's last words, Obinna's greed, the elder's judgment, the fire, the whispers, the dream. Her voice shook, but Mama Ifunanya listened without interrupting, her hands folded on her lap.
When Ada finished, tears streaming down her cheeks, Mama Ifunanya placed a gentle hand on hers. My daughter, your father did not give you that land by chance. He knew what he was doing.
The land carries blessing, but also responsibility.
That is why greed has risen against you.
Obinna fights not just for soil, but for the destiny tied to it.
Ada's eyes widened. Destiny? Yes, Mama Ifunanya nodded.